The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with them for the usual daily wage, he sent them into his vineyard. Going out about 9 o'clock, the landowner saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And he said to them, "You too go into my vineyard, and I will give you what is just." So they went off. And he went out again around noon, and around 3 o'clock, and did likewise. Going out about 5 o'clock, the landowner found others standing around and said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" He answered, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You too go into my vineyard." When it was evening, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." When those who had started about 5 o'clock came, to each received the usual daily wage. So when the first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also got the usual wage. And on receiving it, they grumbled against the landowners, saying, "These last ones worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat." He said to one of them in reply, "My friend, I am not cheating you. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what is yours and go. What if I wish to give these last ones the same as you? Or am I not free to do as I wish with my own money? Are you envious because I am generous? Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Lord.
So I spent about 3 years on the Wind River Indian Reservation, and it was a great experience. Met a lot of great people there, but also came to know their struggles. There's a lot of addiction problems there on the reservation, be it alcohol, drugs, or abuse of all sorts of shapes and sizes. But after my time there, I come to realize, in my opinion, that the worst drug there on the reservation is idle time. Right? This sitting around with nothing to do. The devil rides on an idle horse. Right? So I'm not a fan of idle time, and I don't think Jesus is either. At least this landowner wasn't, who came out and said, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" Right? Why are you just doing nothing? That's trouble. Go to work. Right? So they struggle with that. It's kind of in your face there. But I know I struggle with it, and I think it's part of human nature, right? Hey, I got nothing to do, so why don't I go start a forest fire? I got nothing to do, so why don't I go start a riot? Right? So this is part of human nature, something that we got to work against. Work against that idleness. Have something to do, right? Something constructive to do. I think there's also a tendency to go the other way too far and just be like overly busy. Might call this activism. I mean, I think the guys that maybe that were there at dawn, which I commend them, like for being there at dawn to like go to work. Maybe they veered on the side of activism, being a little bit too busy. And so then when the labor or the landowner came at the end of the day dealing out wages, they were kind of ticked off because they didn't get more. So there's two extremes, right? Idleness and then activism, right? And virtue, where we want to be, lies right in the middle. What does that look like? I'm just going to throw the word out: intentionality. Be intentional. That's kind of the medium, the means, the middle ground, the virtue of how to be not overly busy and not sitting idle. Be attentive to what you're doing right now. We might say, age quod agis. Agid quod agis. Do what you do. I like to quote Latin because it makes me look cool. My buddy Kurt says, being cool is the first rule, so I follow that. Age quod agis. Do what you do, right? Makes sense. Be attentive. Whatever you're doing, just do it. We're not meant to be multitaskers. We're meant to be unitaskers. One thing at a time. Just do it. Okay, that looks like all sorts of different things in our life. The cool thing about the present moment, that's where God is to be found. In the now. God is right now. So you want to be attentive to that. Okay, what's that look like for me? Okay, and I've been trying to be more intentional about being intentional in my life. One example, so like I go sit down to eat lunch. I set my food down, I say my prayer, and then I grab my phone, right? Thumbing through my phone while I'm eating lunch. Nope, not anymore. I'm going to eat lunch. I'm going to taste my food and just ponder whatever comes to my mind, right? Simple, but necessary, right? It's those little things that we just fly off. We're not doing what we're doing. We're not being intentional, right? So we need to be more intentional about being intentional. Make sense? Where does this ultimately hit the road? Prayer. All right, often I sit down to prayer and I daydream for a good 15 minutes and not pray, right? Be intentional. No, I'm going to pray. I mean, it's better to hit 5 solid minutes of intentional prayer than 15 minutes of thinking. No, we're going to pray. That's where the rubber really hits the road. That's the eternal now that we really want to encounter. That's what we're all doing here. This is where we really want to be intentional, right? I'm not the most entertaining guy, but I try to be focused on the words I'm saying because I'm saying them on your behalf. So listen in, because what I say, they're often in the plural. We offer you this sacrifice. You're saying it too. So we want to be in tune, very intentional about what we're doing here. And that takes age quod agis. Do what you do. Whatever you're doing, do it. Do it right now. If you're going to recreate. If you're going to read. If you're going to watch TV. Don't do too much of it. Unless it's Gunsmoke. You can watch Gunsmoke. That's a good one. Do what you do. Ages quod agis. Right? Be intentional about being intentional. That's the take home today. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever.